Hey, welcome back to Redefining Her Game. I'm your host, Jen. And if you're new here, let me just say, I'm so glad you found this space because this isn't just another podcast. This is a community, a movement, a place where rewriting the rules we never agreed to in the first place. And we're doing it together. So if you caught last week's episode, Why Being a Girl's Girl Changes Everything, then you know we went there. We talked about how supporting other women isn't just a cute idea or a trending hashtag. It's one of the most powerful cultural shifts we can make. And y'all showed up. You really showed up for that conversation. The DMs, the shares, the compliments you told me you gave to strangers, absolutely freaking everything. So this week, we're going to keep that energy going. And the timing, honestly, couldn't be more perfect. We're stepping into a season shift. Back to school, back to reality season, transitions all around. Maybe you've got a daughter heading off to college like I do, or a kindergartner with a brand new backpack and a nervous smile. Maybe you're going back into the office after a summer break, or stepping into something entirely new. And what I know is this. These moments, they aren't just about buying supplies or organizing calendars. They're invitations. They're a reset button. They're opportunities to decide who we're going to be in the next chapter and how we're going to show up, not just for ourselves, but for each other. So today, we're getting into the how. How do we actually begin to be a girl's girl? What does it look like in our everyday lives to cheer for other women? Even when we're still figuring out how to cheer for ourselves. Why do we sometimes feel the urge to compare? And how can we flip that into connection? Here's the beautiful part. It starts with one shift, one small mental reframe. Doesn't require you to be more healed or more confident or have it all figured out. You don't have to wait for someday. You don't have to be perfect. You can start right now because the ripple starts with you. And if you're ready to be part of something powerful, if you want to model a new way of showing up for your friends, for your coworkers, for your daughters, your nieces, then this episode is going to hit you right where you need it. So grab your coffee, lace up those shoes, roll down the windows, or just take a breath. And let's talk about the shift that changes everything. So why we compare instead of celebrate? Let's just get honest here for a minute, because I know this space is all about real talk. We're not bullshitting anything here. Comparison? It's not just something we do. It's something we're taught. And we don't always talk about that part. We weren't born looking at other women and wondering if we were enough. We weren't born with that little voice whispering, she's better than me, or I'll never have what she has. That voice comes later, slowly, subtly, through moments we didn't even realize were shaping us. Like when a teacher said, why can't you be more like her? Or when the popular girl seemed to have all the attention. Or when we flipped through magazines or now social media and saw 100 curated, filtered images that made us question everything about ourselves. And before we knew it, comparison became automatic. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't even conscious. It just was. We learned that women weren't mirrors. They were measuring sticks. Not what do I admire about her, but what does she have that I don't? And I want to pause right here and say, if this sounds familiar to you, not alone, because I felt it too. I felt that sting in my chest when someone else got the promotion, or I've scrolled past the perfectly filtered vacation or birthday party, or just because gift from a husband and thought, am I falling behind? Am I not doing enough? And it's in those moments when our worth feels wobbly that we forget something important. Her win doesn't mean our loss. Her glow doesn't dim our light. But when we've been conditioned to believe there's only room for one woman to shine, it makes sense that we start to see each other as competition instead of community. And that's why this conversation matters, because we're not just talking about being nice to other women. We're talking about unlearning a whole fucking belief system that told us we had to compete to survive. So let me tell you something real quick. A few years ago, I was at a networking event, and one of those things where you feel like you have to show up polished, like you have it all together. And I remember seeing this woman across the room, and she was stunning, confident, successful, and immediately I started shrinking in my own head. She probably has everything together. And I thought I should have worn something else. Why do I come to these type of things? That inner dialogue? Freaking brutal. But then something shifted, right? Instead of pulling back, I actually walked up to her, complimented her style, her energy, and you know what she said? Oh my gosh, thank you. I almost didn't come tonight because I was feeling so off. And just like that, the walls came down. We weren't two women sizing each other up. We were two women showing up side by side. Comparison isolates, celebration connects. Hear that one more time. Comparison isolates and celebration connects. But here's the thing. We can't always control that first thought. That reflex to compare, like it's deep. But what we can choose is the second thought. We can pause. We can reframe. We can shift from threatened to inspired. And that's what today's episode is all about. Not just noticing the patterns, but gently and intentionally shifting them. So if you've ever looked at another woman and felt like you came up short, this is for you. If you've ever held back a compliment you were secretly jealous, this is for you. If you've ever wished you could celebrate others more easily, start right here. We're not aiming for perfect. We're aiming for honest and intentional. Let's talk about how we shift one thought, one moment, one compliment at a time. Here's something I wanted to make sure to say out loud, especially for those of us who've ever felt guilty for having those comparison thoughts. You're not a bad person for feeling it. You're human. And guess what? That instinct to compare often shows up when something inside of us feels uncertain or stretched. When we're in transition, when we're rebuilding, when we're doubting our place in the world. Like it sneaks in when we're vulnerable. But here's the part I really want to land. Comparison isn't always a sign that you're petty or insecure. Sometimes it's your soul's way of saying, I want that too. I just don't know how to get there. And when we approach it from that angle with the gentleness and curiosity instead of shame, it changes everything. So I remember I was scrolling through Instagram late one night and I was in a fog. One of those seasons where everything felt off. And I saw a woman I follow who had just launched something incredible. Her business was thriving. Her kids looked happy. And she was so in her zone. And my first thought, Of course she's thriving. Maybe she has more support than I do. My second thought, the one I frickin' chose, it was she's expanding, and that means I can too. If it's possible for her, maybe it's possible for me too. That mind shift overnight didn't fix everything, but it did crack something open. It turned a moment of shrinking into a moment of possibility. And when we start to look at other women that way, not as competition, but as evidence of what's possible, we begin to soften. We begin to celebrate instead of compare. And that's where the real magic starts. Because if you were being honest, we're all carrying things we don't post. We all have stories beneath our surface. And the more we practice giving other women the benefit of belief that they're doing their best just like we are, the more we build connection over comparison. So here's a little challenge right now. Think of a woman you admire, someone you maybe, if you're being real, you've compared yourself to. And instead of sitting in that, ask yourself, what do I see in her that might be a reflection of what I want to grow in myself? What can I learn from her energy or her courage or her choices? Because that's where celebration begins. And celebrating another woman doesn't take away anything from you. It just expands your space for both of us. So let's give it a shot. Okay, so let's really dig into this. Because if episode 4 was like your light bulb moment, episode 5, right here, right now, the switch you get to flip. Here's the shift I want you to start with. The one I come back to over and over again when I feel myself slipping into comparison, competition, or just that weird space where I feel a little less than. From she has something I don't to she's proof it's possible. Now pause and let that settle for a second, because that one line, that's the mindset that set me free. So let me say it again. For you, for the vision you need years ago, like try it again. She's proof it's possible. That woman you admire, the one who seems to have figured out her career or has a beautiful circle of friends or is finally in a season of joy after years of struggle, she's not a sign you're behind. She's an invitation, a mirror, a glimpse of what might be waiting for you too. Now let's be real for a second though. The shift sounds nice, but when you're in the thick of your own insecurities or struggles, it can feel freaking impossible. Like, that's real cute, Jen, but I'm barely hanging on right now. Or I want to be that person who cheers others on, but I'm stuck in my own shit right now. Yep, I hear you. I've been you. And here's what I learned. I don't have to be fully healed to choose kindness. You don't have to feel amazing about yourself every day to celebrate someone else. You don't need to be over it to stop letting comparison drive the narrative. You just need to breathe. Take one pause, one tiny redirection in your thoughts. You see, I used to think becoming a girl's girl meant having this big, bubbly energy all the time. And to me, that just sounded exhausting. Like I had to be constantly hyping people up or throwing compliments all the time. But it's not about being loud. It's about being rooted in the belief that another woman's success doesn't steal from you, rooted in the belief that there's enough room for all of us. And once we believe that, like really freaking believe it, we move through the world differently. There was a time where I felt so behind in my career. Like I had taken a pause for my family, made sacrifices, and then watched other women my age just soar. And it was hard not to feel small, hard not to scroll past their updates and feel like I missed the boat. But then I started choosing curiosity over comparison. And I started saying, like, wow, I love that she's doing that. What could I learn from her? And let me tell you, some of the women I once envied, they became mentors, friends, partners in my growth. Like, comparison keeps us disconnected, where curiosity pulls us into that community. So let that be the shift. And when I talk about this being like a little rebellion, I mean it. Because choosing to celebrate another woman when society has trained us to compete, that's revolutionary. That's healing. That's the quiet kind of courage that changes everything. So here's my invitation to you this week. Catch the comparison when it shows up. Don't shame it. Just notice it. Pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what if her win is a window into what's possible for me? Because that's one thought, right? It's not just a mindset work. It's identity work. It's heart work. It's the beginning of your girl's girl era. And trust me, once you step into it, you won't want to go back. So we've talked about the mindset shift, but now I want to show you what actually happens when you start living that way. Because this isn't just about you. It never is. That one moment when you catch yourself from slipping into comparison and instead choose connection, that's the beginning of a ripple that moves through your life and touches everyone around you. So, like an example, right? I remember sitting in the stands of the school soccer game, watching my daughter play. There's another mom nearby, the kind who always seems like she's got it together. Volunteering everywhere, perfect snacks, cheering so loud but so composed. And I remember immediately thinking, am I not doing enough? I'm not that mom. But then I stopped myself and I reminded myself of this shift. She's not a threat. She's proof it's possible. And I turned to her and said, I just wanted to say to you, I love how you show up for your kids. I notice it and it matters. And she looked at me and exhaled, and I was like, okay. Like she'd been waiting for someone to say you're doing a great job. And what happened next? We talked, we laughed, we became friends. We cheered each other on since, on the sidelines and in life. That's what I mean by ripple. It's not always big, it's not always loud, but it spreads and it sticks with one simple connection. Now imagine that happening in your workplace. Instead of competing with the woman who's excelling, what if you asked her to coffee? What if you said, I admire the way you lead meetings. Can you share how you built that confidence? That's vulnerability. That's connection. That's how we stop repeating the pattern of simple and silent comparison and start replacing it with meaningful community. And here's the most powerful part. When you live this way, your confidence doesn't just grow, it deepens because you're no longer seeking validation through being better than. You're grounded in being authentically you. And you're not afraid to celebrate others because you know their shine has nothing to do with your worth. You're secure, you're rooted, available to love more fully, support more boldly, to lead without needing to dim anyone else. And that ripple, it keeps going. Your daughters see it, your sons will see it, your nieces, your neighbors, your friends, the young woman around you watching how you treat your peers, they take notes and they treat theirs that way. They start to understand. This is what women do. We don't tear down, we build. So let me say this loud for the women in the back. Kindness is not weakness. Celebration is not naive. Cheering for other women is not performative. It's freaking powerful. The more we do it, the more it becomes the culture. And that's how we change things. Not through shouting louder, but by showing up softer, stronger, more supportive than ever before. Because we're not here just to redefine the game. We're here to build it together. And friend, that starts with you, wherever you are, exactly as you are. So the next time you feel that twinge of comparison creep in, try this instead. Take a deep breath, name the emotion, then whisper to yourself, she's proof it's possible. Say it until you believe it. Say it until it becomes your reflex. And watch everything around you begins to shift. So if no one has told you today, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the way you're choosing to shift. Not perfectly, not all at once, but with heart. I'm proud of how you're showing up for other women and for yourself. And I'm proud that you're here listening, learning, and becoming. This work we're doing, it's bigger than a podcast. It's a movement. A quiet rebellion against comparison, against silence, against shame. And every time you choose to celebrate another woman, you are leading it. So this week, I want you to do 3 things. 1, catch one moment of comparison and reframe it. Say it out loud if you can. She's proof it's possible. 2, compliment a woman you don't know. Someone in the gym, in your coffee shop, in your Zoom meeting, wherever. Watch her entire posture shift when you do. That's the ripple. And 3, share this episode with the one woman who needs a reminder that there's room for all of us to win. And if you love this episode, please take 10 seconds to follow and leave a quick message for me. It helps more women find the space, and trust me, there's a lot of us out here ready to change the game. We're not going to be able to do this alone. We're doing it as a true girl's girl, side by side, cheering each other on. So until next time, keep spreading joy like it's goddamn confetti, and keep redefining your game. One bold, meaningful mindset shift at a time. I'll see you next Monday.